Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you so much. That was just delightful. Oh, what a delight it is to have that music in our lives. So right up front, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you a secret. Okay. Here it is. The entire message today is held in the songs that Lisa is playing today. So first of all, we heard from Walking with the Spirit by Eddy Watkins Jr. Remember what he said? He said, when I find myself in one of those situations, when I don't know what to do and got no explanation, I go within and get plugged in for a revelation, walking with the Spirit. And then the second song, High Hopes. Anyone knows an ant can't move a rubber tree plant, but he's got high hopes. He's got high hopes. He's got high apple pie in the sky hopes. So anytime you're getting low, instead of letting go, just remember that ant. And the third song, which you will hear after my talk, is called That One by Daniel Nahmod. And he says this, he says, that one, I want that one. Yeah, give me the kind of life where I'm kind of flying blind and black is sometimes white as well. That one. I want that one, not some boring, ordinary, flat one. I'll fail, I'll succeed, I'll laugh, and I'll bleed. Every day's a mystery. Yeah, that's the life for me. That one. So here's the deal. If all you do today is listen to those three songs, you definitely got the message. And oftentimes when I'm preparing a talk, I will listen to those songs over and over again to kind of get me in the mood. And certainly Lisa playing them this morning with that, with the joy of life, certainly adds to that. So anyhow, if you listen to those three songs and that's all you do today, that is absolutely perfect. So I'd love to have you stay around and listen to my talk and listen to my stories. But if you want to just go have a cup of coffee, you've already got it. You've already got it. Because what there is in this world, there's this timeless wisdom that is in absolutely everything. Timeless wisdom that has come down to us through the ages. Everybody has it inside of them. There's nobody that is lacking this timeless wisdom. And there is the evolutionary vision. That's what Science of Mind is about. Timeless wisdom, evolutionary vision. So we envision humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence. Each and every person awakening to their spiritual magnificence and discovering that creative power of thought. A world where every person discovers their own personal power and the ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for everyone. So that's what we're about. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but we're already in April. I don't know how this happens, but it does every year. So in March, we opened ourselves to the highest possibility for our lives by living in the question. And then we did some visioning and we talked about letting go and we talked about embracing and embodying. And this month in April, we're talking about stepping into the unknown. And last week, we talked about winds of change, the idea that that commitment to a vision calls us to embrace change, transformation, newness, even if we don't want to. So as we boldly step into the unknown, we find ourselves navigating those winds of change, welcoming some winds, resisting others, going with it, choose how we're going to move forward. Now, you may have noticed, or you may not have, that I was absent last week. Now, ordinarily, I would not miss a chance to hear Kit Holmes. But we were on the road. We drove to Tucson to visit with my family. And part of the reason for that visit was to celebrate the life of my sister-in-law, who's in the process of making her transition. So we found out in mid-March that we had just months or weeks to be with her. And so within a few days, there were 25 of us that made arrangements to gather at my sister's home. We did not hesitate. We did not hesitate. We decided to go and to take that journey. Where the winds blew us, we decided to go with it. So every new journey we choose is filled with excitement, anticipation, and there also may be feelings of hesitation. And this paradoxical state is what we're calling forward today in this talk, Bless-itation. There are blessings to come, and sometimes there's a hesitation. A combination of blessings and hesitations, Bless-itation. So as we travel along, we discover the blessings and our hesitations on this new path. And additionally, we have the opportunity to recognize the power of the blessing, whatever is before us, whatever is triggering us, and greet it with curiosity. So it was a blessing for us to get out, a blessing for us to have already been vaccinated, a blessing to travel, to be with family, even though the circumstances that called us together were not what we really wanted. But this happens in our lives. As Brett read from Rumi, there is no way to overcome this hesitation except by falling in love. By falling in love with your life. So to the degree that you allow yourself to become less resistant to upsets in life, you can embrace the opportunities and move in that new direction without hesitation. You have a choice to stay in the comfortable, the order that you know, try to maintain that, or you can step into the chaos or disorder, opening yourself to release blockages, sometimes that have been there for a long time, and make the choice to create a life that works for everyone. So, because as you poise yourself in the realization that you live in pure spirit, there is a new power that will be born within you. You'll find yourself renewed by that divine life, led by divine intelligence, guarded by divine love, walking with the spirit. So what we know and believe in religious science is oneness. We believe absolutely oneness. That is the core concept. And when we hesitate or experience hesitation on our path, it's symptomatic of embracing separateness, otherness. So we need to realign, remember the core concept that oneness is our nature and it is the nature of life itself. Because if God is all there is, then everything in our life is God. Doubt of the circumstances in our human experience is a calling for reconnecting our humanness with that spiritual essence within us. The hesitation we experience in our life is a blessing. It offers an opportunity to check in, to remember the fundamental truth. God is all there is God. Even if we don't like it or understand it, all of it is pointing us to the fundamental principle. There isn't my life and God's life. There is only one life. And so my challenge to you and to myself is to move forward in conviction of this oneness. And oftentimes in life, there are upsets which bring disorder to our lives. Our human reaction is to seek order, resist disorder, resist that which is demanding a change in our direction. I would rather continue to muddle through and remain in this zone of comfort and ease, and especially in these times where we are kind of sequestered in a way. It's much more comfortable to stay here. It was kind of scary to get out and like get on the road. Oh my goodness, what happens? So these become opportunities for change. They become openings that set us off sailing into a new direction, propelled by that creative energy of divine life, even when we're not ready for it. A snail hitched a ride with a friendly turtle. You can just imagine the snail on this turtle. As they reached the intersection, another turtle came along and rammed into them. And a cop came and questioned the snail and said, "What happened here?" And the little snail replied, "I don't know. It all happened so fast." Do you ever feel like that in your life? And there's no simple way to respond to the disorder, which forces you to reorder your life and head in this new direction. Often you must reflect on what was good or helpful in the past. Otherwise, you might spend your energy on resistance or reaction. So the idea is to welcome these moments into your life. And that can be the key to bringing you to the place of acceptance, to surrender and take this new direction. Whether or not you make a mistake along the way, you know the power of trial and error, don't you? One time, an interviewer asked a successful businessman to ask what he attributed his success. And the businessman replied, 2 words: right decisions. The interviewer said, "How do you make right decisions?" Businessman, 1 word: experience. How do you get experience? 2 words: wrong decisions. So as you deepen in your spiritual practice, there will be times in your life when you see blockages and disappointments as opportunities. And so we gratefully accept that, accept it with an open heart, and surrender to this process of disorder, reorder, order. And it continues. And that's what change, it just continues to happen. And if you practice this, it opens the way to embrace the change with curiosity, with a renewed commitment to the vision for your life. And that opens the way to make choices which are in alignment with that vision. So why do we hesitate? The main reason for me is doubt. I don't want to start something that I'm not going to finish. So if I say, well, I'll never finish this project, that doubt, that hesitation stops me. And so then I have to remember, all there is God. And that everything that I need to do whatever it is has been already given. So the trust and keep working. And what would it have been like, for example, if Moses didn't do that? So how much food and water would it take to cross the desert? So according to an army quartermaster general, it is reported that Moses would have had to have 1,500 tons of food each day to feed the Israelites in the wilderness. And so think about that. To bring that much food each day, it would take 2 freight trains a mile long. And of course, Moses didn't have access to freight trains. And now, okay, they would need firewood to use in cooking the wood. And this would take 4,000 tons of firewood and a few more freight trains, each a mile long, for just one day. Oh yeah, and water. You would have to have water. If only they had enough water to drink and wash a few dishes, it would take 11 million gallons each day. And a freight train with tank cars, 1,800 miles long, just for the water, because they're crossing the desert. But then each time they camped at the end of the day, a campground 2/3 the size of the state of Rhode Island was required, or 750 square miles. This much space for camping So do you think that Moses said, okay, I'm going to get all this in place before he left Egypt? I think not. You see, Moses believed that his spiritual good had no correlation to tough times. Moses walked in faith and trust in God and was provided with every step of the way. Every step of the way. Walking with the Spirit in front of me. So bless-itation is that work opportunity, that new job, that decision to move ahead, knowing that the blessing that is coming is absolutely perfect, whole, and complete, that everything has been provided, and there's no reason to hesitate. So the what if is what if happens. So most likely we know exactly what will cause the what if. Now the universe has given us an opening for choosing a new roadmap. So this bless-itation, this hesitation about what if, oh, what if we could let that go? What if we could let that go? We attended a dog show when we were in Comox a few years ago. It was a local dog show, and the dogs were learning, well, they were jumping. They were running down a ramp and jumping into the water and seeing how far they could leap. So I've never been to a dog jumping contest before. And so there were two dogs at the end. One of them was a feisty brown dog, full of bounce and keen to please, you know the kind. And his sleek opponent was a black dog, probably a black lab, looks like, that seemed full of poise and confidence. You know, I've been here, I've done this before. Order. And each dog was given 3 attempts to jump from that run into the water and how far they could go. And so at the first level, the brown dog jumped and struggled to pull himself up, but he made it, but it wasn't a great one. It wasn't a great jump. So his master said, okay, try it again. And he tried it again, and it was good, but not enough. And so the third attempt was very good. And so then it's the black dog's turn. And the lab, received his master's signals, ran, jumped, no problem. And he already was better than the brown dog. And so the contest continued. Each time that the dogs jumped farther, it was a little bit more difficult. And each time the brown dog on the third try was better. And each time the lab was fantastic. Just needed one jump to clear the brown dog. And it was apparent the black dog was going to win, but there were enough tries. And so the next time they were supposed to go further and further out. And the brown dog tried and missed and tried and missed. And somehow on his third attempt, he absolutely made the jump. But the black dog, with his confidence, missed and would not go back for another try. Now, each time they had 3 tries. No, the black dog would not go back for that try because the black dog already knew what it could do, and it developed little or no persistence. It just knew what it could do. And the little brown dog was not yet done exploring its potential. So it kept trying. And that's what made the difference. So we have an opportunity to choose to keep trying, to keep doing, to develop our muscles, our curiosity muscles. And when we hesitate because we don't know which way to go, sometimes just choose a way and trust that there is information in that direction that although it might not get you exactly where you want to go, now that you've taken that first step, you can see further and you can choose again. And sometimes we discern through action as opposed to knowing everything before we move. So it's all for us. And all of it can serve us if we let it. So here's a prayer that my sister shared with me. It says, Dear God, so far today I've done all right. I've not gossiped all day. I've not lost my temper, or I've not been greedy, grumpy, nasty, selfish, or overindulgent. And I'm thankful for that. But I'm going to get out of bed in a moment and I will really need some help after that. So it's up to us to know that the best is yet to come. There was a young man who'd been diagnosed with a terminal illness and had been given 3 months to live. So as he was getting things in order, he contacted his pastor and had him come to the house and discuss certain aspects of his final wishes. He told him which songs he wanted sung at the service and what scriptures and what outfit, and everything was in order. And the pastor was preparing to leave when the young man suddenly remembered something very important. He said, There's one more thing. What's that? This is very important, the young man continued. I want to be buried with a fork in my right hand. And the pastor stood looking and not knowing what to say, said, Well, and the young man said, Well, that surprises you, doesn't it? It's like, Well, yeah, I'm puzzled by the request, said the pastor. Well, the young man explained, My grandmother once told me this story, and from that time on, I've always tried to pass along its message to those I love and those who are in need of encouragement. In all my years of attending socials and dinners, I always remember that when the dishes of the main course were being cleared, someone would inevitably lean over and say, Keep your fork. It was my favorite part because I knew that something better was coming, like the velvety chocolate cake or the deep dish apple pie, something wonderful, something with substance. So I just want people to see me there in that casket with a fork in my hand, and I want them to wonder, what's with the fork? And then I want you to tell them, keep your fork. The best is yet to come. And so at the funeral, people were walking by and they would say, what's with the fork? And the pastor would told the people of his conversation he had with the young man. And he told them about the fork and what it symbolized. And he told people how he could not stop thinking about the fork and told them they probably would not be able to stop thinking about it either. And he was right. So the next time you reach down for your fork, let it remind you ever so gently, the best is yet to come. And so as we begin new things, we sometimes experience the joy of the newness along with that hesitation of uncertainty. And the opportunity is to feel the hesitation and appreciate it, but not to allow it to impede our forward movement. So this week in your life, take note of the bless-itations. Be fully present with them and allow this to be your guide. And so let's just take this into our spiritual mind treatment today. This idea, knowing that we're walking with the Spirit, knowing that we have high hopes and knowing that we get to choose that one. We get to choose our direction. We get to choose our life. And so what I know without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, is there is a power for good in this universe that I can use, that everyone can use, and that it uses us. This power is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. And so there is no need for me to be concerned, to doubt, to worry. Everything has already been provided. This nature, the spirit, the divine, by whatever name we call it, it is one. It is oneness, and it is that which in which we live and move and have our being, and it is that which brings us together in this moment at this time. And so knowing this, I am already in gratitude for this oneness, for this connection that is always present. And right now, I consciously open to that. I open to the abundance of the universe, knowing that everything is already provided, everything that is needed for my life up until this point has been given to me. And it will continue in that same vein. And so I'm in gratitude for that. I'm in gratitude for the health and the wholeness of each and every person, knowing that there is a healing taking place in each person all of the time. Constant regeneration of love and light and joy and wonder, that regeneration of curiosity, the regeneration of breath, and knowing that this life is eternal, that it existed before this body took form and it will exist after this body leaves the earth. That is the eternal spirit. And I am one with that, as is each and every other person. And this spirit is the spirit of love. So I know for each person, there is love that comes to them in the most magnificent ways. That each person attracts that love in their life. Each person radiates out that love. It is a continuous circulation of love. Oh, and I'm so grateful for that. And I'm grateful also for the creative expression in life, for the curiosity that moves us forward in perfect right ways, for each person being that which they came here to be. Spirit showing up as that individualization with unique talents and abilities. Just that love. And so being grateful for the abundance, for the health, for the love, and for the creative expression. I just let it be. I let it be. It is already perfect, whole, and complete. And so I release this word into that law, shouting it into that mountain that echoes it back exactly in perfect mirroring of that, a perfect echo of what I put out returns to me. I am so grateful. I choose wholeness. I choose wellness. I choose love. And I invite you to join me in this by affirming together. And so it is.